Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sam's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Elm Creek Farms and Elm Creek Farms B&B. This is episode number 12, and we're in the same game day. We are planting oats in field number 9, and this was the field that we did the field work in the previous episode. We had George helping us, and we cultivated this just to break the ground open after it had sat here for several months during winter, and then came along and rolled that field just to put the rocks under the surface just enough to where that we didn't have to worry about it damaging our equipment, and we didn't need to take the time to go through the effort of clearing the entire field. We only had, as we pointed out in that episode, we only had small rocks that we had to deal with, and we were able to push those under the soil and give ourselves a good seed bed to be able to go ahead and plant our first field of oats in the spring, and that's what we're doing right now. We are putting oats down. Just if you are joining this channel, kind of new, and you've not watched the previous episodes on Elm Creek Farms, we've planted a winter wheat crop. We did that last year. I think it was probably in the month of October or November. I don't remember now, and also a canola crop in the winter months. So those will be coming due to harvest beforehand, first, should be anyways. And then our oats will obviously, we are growing oats for the purpose of our bakery operations, not for any animal use, although we will most likely collect the straw from the hay crop, or not the hay crop, from the oats crop once we harvest that. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Hope you all had a magnificent weekend. It This morning the coffee is brought to you by a friend of mine down in Texas who roasts coffee, and he's kind enough to send me a batch every so often, and it is some of the very best coffee that I have ever had the opportunity to consume, and it is just wonderful. And I always look forward to his packages when he sends those to me, and generally cherish those, and have done so certainly this time around. He Good friend of mine, grew up with him, one of my best friends from my early school days as well as high school days. Growing up in a small town, this is just kind of a little bit of a real world data point about me. I grew up in a small town where, you know, I often refer to it as a one stoplight kind of town, and it was not a red, yellow, and green stoplight. It was a four-way flashing stoplight. So that even minimizes the town, even more so, in my opinion. But when I started going there in first grade, I went to kindergarten in a school about 7 or 8 miles away. Went to the same school in the same building as my dad did for kindergarten, and then we moved into town between my kindergarten and first grade year. And when I started first grade, started in a brand new school that had just been built, and just awesome school, awesome people, and all that stuff. But the cool thing about growing up in a small town, at least in my opinion, is the fact that many of the kids that I got to know in first grade, I graduated with them my senior year, and we are lifelong friends, if you will. And through, you can say what you want to say about Facebook and social media, but that has certainly helped to not only rekindle some friendships that had kind of taken a back burner, if you will, without social media. That has, for me living near 1,000 miles away from where I grew up, it has helped to bring those relationships back together. And he is a good dear friend of mine, and I have certainly enjoyed going to school with him and playing with him as younger individuals, and then going out and causing trouble as we got older and were coming of age and all that stuff. And so, anyway, enough about that. So yesterday, as I said, George was helping us out on the field work. I've sent him home. Bo is wrapping up the um, greenhouse operations for the day. He is probably also done for the day and will be heading home himself. So we probably will not see him, and we're not going to need any work from those guys for the rest of this game day. So that is how that's going to play out. So we've got our oats in the ground. One thing that I had talked about in the previous episode was how that we were going to go ahead and proactively, and I'll just stop here and we go and check this field. This field should be, obviously it should be seeded in oats, and it should be 50% fertilized because it had no fertilization on it. It has no weeds on it, and obviously we seeded and fertilized at the same time with this particular Amazon seeder. And so yeah, so that's where we are. That's where we stand. So obviously we will need to come around at some stage in the next growth cycle or the second growth cycle or whatever, and hit that with another application of liquid fertilizer just to bring that up to where we need it to be. Now, in the previous episode, I mentioned some changes that we've made around the farm, and I will just quickly point those out to you, and then we are going to go ahead and spray some herbicide on that field as a preventative measure to see if we can just essentially eliminate weeds altogether and see if that works. I have been hearing that that will work in FarmSim 22. I don't think it worked in 19. I don't remember it being that way. I think in 19 we had to wait until, well, you could spray, but I don't think it did any good really, and you had to wait until the first growth cycle or until weeds began to appear. But we will give it a shot and see what happens and just keep our eyes on that. So one of the things that we did was I hired a contractor to come in here and remove some trees. If you look here, there are no trees in this grass meadow area. Because we are going to chop corn for chaff for silage purposes, all of the grass needs that we will have for this year and early next year will be in the form of hay, obviously. So, considering that I was able to mow enough grass last fall time frame to provide our needs for both silage and hay, I figured that the verge around the fields and this area here will give us enough grass for hay purposes to be able to meet our needs for hay specifically. So we've got access a little ways back here behind the barn that we can mow, and we'll just need to probably do this a couple of times, and then like I said, the verge, and then also that area next to the fields that are up here at the top of the map. That once it saves, it will give us here this area in here. We collected some grass in the past before. So good areas, and I think that will be enough to meet our needs going forward. I believe I collected just a little over 120,000, 130,000 liters of hay, and that has seen us through thus far, and we still have a little bit left over from before. So the other thing that we have done is we eliminated one greenhouse because we needed to make a little bit of room for chickens. Eggs are obviously in demand here. It's a good crop. It's relatively maintenance free in FS22. All we need to do is make sure we have plenty of feed for them, and feed goes a long way in 22. And of course, the space to put it. So we were able to eliminate one greenhouse, put the chicken coop in here. We're running the maximum amount of chickens, 360 head of egg laying chickens, and they're producing, a decent amount of eggs to fulfill the needs of our B&B, as well as being able to sell around the area at farmers markets and such as that. So we'll be loading these up, not today, not in this video, but very soon. And as you can see, Bo has already packaged up, crated up one crate of tomatoes for us. Lettuce, we've already done that, and so that's out of the way. We've got this Brockman, or not Brock, but Bachman trailer that we're sort of imagining has a reefer on it, and I believe that's what that is. If we open the door and look into it, which let's go ahead and do that. I wish we could open the door from the outside. This would be a perfect trailer to be able to do that with, is open the door from the outside, but we can't. Um, but I think that's a fan, and so I'm sort of imagining that this is a reefer trailer. It sits here. We've got it plugged in, and it basically runs and keeps us cool, so that when we start our engine and close our doors, it basically keeps the tomatoes, lettuce, eggs from perishing until we can take them to market. So we've got a pretty good stack in there going now. Most likely in the next game day, once the tomatoes grow and the lettuce grows, and more eggs come available to us, we'll get those loaded up and take those most likely to the farmer's market or to whomever is paying the highest or has the greatest need. But yeah, in our storyline here, definitely we're taking tomatoes, lettuce, and eggs and taking them up to the B&B that my wife is managing and running, and using our own stuff as much as possible to feed the masses that come out and enjoy country life in a rural setting. All right, so we'll go ahead and back this guy out of here, and we need to go and fill him up with some herbicide, because that is what we are going to spray today. And again, this is kind of a test. This is maybe my own test, my own validation, if you will, that that we could do this. Um, does it make sense to do it? How is it done in the real world? Those are questions that I don't necessarily know the answer to. I think from what I can remember watching some of the real life farming videos that I enjoy watching, like Millennial Farmer and such, I'm pretty sure they are spraying, um, from a preventative standpoint. Not waiting until the weeds actually start to take hold and spraying. But then again, not 100% sure. But we're just at least going to do it on this field as sort of a test, just to kind of keep an eye on and see. Obviously, we've got weed infestations on those fields which we have not yet prepared for seeding yet, and so those will most likely just till under, and or may just even seed directly on top of that. I think the seeder will just push those into the soil. We'll see when we get to that point. But let's go ahead and open up the arms of our sprayer and get ourselves lined up here. And like I said, we'll just keep an eye on it and see how it goes over the next, several months. It may be something that it may prove us wrong. It may prove me that, basically we can't do it this way. But I've heard people talking about it in the discussion groups for FarmSim 22, and I think I've even seen a video talking about doing it this way as a preventative type measure, and that's what we're going to do for our test, and then we'll compare notes as the season progresses along. Now, one thing that I don't think I'm going to necessarily do is come along after seeding and come along after seeding and roll the field. I don't think I'm going to do that. I've never seen any of the other farmers doing that I've watched on YouTube. Not to say that they don't, but like Millennial Farmer, I mean, he's got so much acreage that he's farming that I think it would be, I think it would almost be counterproductive for them to take the time to do that. And if they do it, and I've just missed those episodes or weren't really paying it close enough attention to what was going on to truly understand that that's what they were doing, then my apologies. But I think that we're just going to skip that step. I see the value in doing it, especially the way that we did it just a few days ago, where or in the previous episode, where we did it as a measure to eliminate or push the small rocks into the soil. And I know that, for example, Millennial Farmer does do rock picking. I've seen at least one or more of his videos where he is doing that, but they're going after the big rocks, and I don't even know if they roll the small rocks under. I think they're just small enough that it just doesn't cause any sort of problems. But we'll just see how things go and what our yield factors and everything are going to be in doing things the way that we're doing them here. And we can compare notes. If you guys have experience already, if you've gone through a planting harvesting cycle and have some data points for me, certainly pass those along through the comments, and I will certainly take all of that in as we continue to go about our planting and field prep cycles to get things going. But we only have, we're only managing a few fields here on this in this play on this gameplay, and certainly I really don't know what these other lines are that have appeared after we've sprayed. I don't think that is fertilization layers. We'll just get out and check and see if nope, it's still showing as 50%, but weeds are 0%. But like I said, we'll just keep an eye on it and see how things go, and make it from there. But as you can see, we've still got basically everything you see in this view right here. We still need to we still need to see. Now, the next crop that I believe will come available to us to begin seeding will be corn. We're going to raise corn for chaff silage purposes, and maybe if we get like, if our yields on the first one or two fields that we chop in the probably late summer time frame, if those yield us say 150 plus thousand liters of silage, then most likely we will allow the third field of corn to go ahead and mature and dry up to the point to where that we would harvest it with, as we would normally harvest corn to sell for either feed purposes or whatever. So we've got that to look forward to. So I will just leave this guy right here, and we'll shut him off and jump out. Just want to say that my channel growth has certainly taken off in the last week. We have surpassed that 1,850 viewer mark that I was kind of bouncing back and forth. I'd get to 1850, 1851, and then I'd lose a few subscribers. But we've moved past that. We're well on our way to 1,900 subscribers, and of course, 2,000 subscribers is would be a tremendous goal to get here on the channel. And just very appreciative of, again, as I have said before, for all of those, 1,800 some odd subscribers that held in there through the dry periods when I wasn't producing regular content. And, I think at one point it's been more than a year since I put something on the channel. But we're fully engaged with Farm Sim 22, having so much fun playing this version, even with all of its opportunities. And of course, this is being filmed before the patch. So if the patch were to come out in the next week or so, I'm still on the old version, same version that everyone else is on, until that patch gets released from Giants. And of course, there's no word on when that's going to be, other than the speculation is that it's before Christmas. So we're still couple of weeks before Christmas here, both in the time that I'm recording this and also at the time that I think that you'll be watching this video. So again, it's going to be a short video today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your friendship and for your likes, subscribes, your comments. If you have questions, do feel free to post a question or post a comment to one of the videos, or even better than that, come over and join the Grizzly Bear Sims Discord channel server that I have set up, and you can interact with me and everyone else over there as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in probably mid-March or early April for the next video so that we can continue along with what we're doing and how we're doing it and see how things are progressing and have some fun here on Elm Creek Farms. Thanks again for watching. Take good care of yourself, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Bye for now.